a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And welcome to the show. Thank you so much. We've got an all-star lineup for you today. Dr. Scott Anderson's in the house. Also, Patrick Furlow coming up here on the show. We have a couple of really cool clips we're going to get into, and a big shout out to Captain Will Smith Aviation, fresh off of our trip down to Key West. Got that $100 cheeseburger down there, Alex. What a great day yesterday that was. That was awesome, man. A lot of fun.
Man, that was amazing. That's without a doubt the best crab cake I've ever had, and I am a crab cake snob. So shout out to Key West for keeping the crab cake game alive.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. We got to Key West. We left Tampa, got there in like 38 minutes or something like that. Had Mike Gallagher with us. It was a good time.
It was crazy. I was like, man, it takes me longer to drive to like IKEA with my family.
Yeah, exactly. Fighting traffic. Now you got the Friendly Skies. Fly the Friendly Skies with Captain Will Smith Aviation. And always a good time, man, hanging out with Captain Will. And Dr. Scott's actually a friend of Captain Will's as well. Yeah. We're going to talk today. Give us a quick teaser of what we're going to talk about.
Right now, I always talk about the crisis, the mental health and substance abuse crisis in the United States right now. But we're going to talk about some of the things you see in the news all the time, about especially with school shootings, the recent ones. And we're going to kind of talk about the etiology, the origins of that, how that happens.
I love it.
And where it comes from.
I love it. That's good stuff. Dr. Scott Anderson here in studio with us, Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you win in any marketplace. And the reason we say any marketplace is because we have so many different types of attorneys, CPA, financial advice, home service providers, all the best in any industry, whatever you need. We want you to be your one-stop shop for all things real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, doctors, mental health. So many different ways we help you here. ConsumerQB.com, ConsumerQB.com, and you can see all of our partners there. You can also reach out to our show hotline, of course, and get in touch with us as well. All right, we always like to feature our real estate property listings. One of the things my wife Lindsay and I do as part of our real estate business is we feature our listings live on air, maximizing the exposure, helping you sell faster for more money. And we're on multiple stations, 860 The Answer, 1025 The Bone, Roku, Apple TV, and so many more. So we got some hot listings right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. And the strategy works. You know, we did $2 billion in sales last year out of our 3 local offices, and that's our Keller Williams umbrella. But yeah, we got a couple of listings right here in Tampa Bay that we'd like to talk to you about here on the show. This one is 232 Hardcastle Place in Valrico, and you have a beautiful community pool here. This is a 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, plus a bonus room, 1,560 square feet. Kitchen features granite countertops. You have a beautiful lanai, screened-in lanai with a storage room. The primary has walk-in closet and an ensuite. Laundry room located upstairs. Access to the community pool. And this is a beautiful property. I love this community pool and the access that you have. Cul-de-sac right by the pool there. 232 Hardcastle Place, Valrico. Another one of our beautiful listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. All right, another listing here. This is a commercial property. Attention business owners, entrepreneurs, 6901 46th Avenue North, St. Petersburg. You have a mixed-use property. You have 2 separate buildings on a corner lot location. Commercial and office building up front. You have 676 square feet with a half bathroom. And the front building, it's currently set up as an office/business space. Could be a great barber shop, salon. Also, main residence, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 car garage. Just under 1,000 square feet, and it does qualify for a homestead exemption as well. You have ample storage outdoor. You could put RVs there as well, boat or work truck storage. Investment opportunity with potential for both business and residential purposes. 6901 46th Avenue North, St. Petersburg, Florida. And you can see all of our 60-plus listings over at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
Shout out to all our veterans out there. Dr. Scott Anderson in the house.
How you doing, back, Brandon? Good to be back.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Always trying to push the word out there and get the truth out.
That's right, man. Get the good truth out there. And, you know, you're dealing with an area of our country that seems to be a growing area of concern and especially need.
Yeah.
It's mental
actually,
health.
You know, we talk about politics. You and I, you know, we're friends here, especially with Alex. And we talk about how politics are and how the state of the United States is currently. And I can't impress upon people how important it is to know that that affects society. It affects people's mental health and their stability,
Right.
Especially in today's day and age. What I mean by that is the rampant crime, the corruption we see all over the news. We see all kinds of fear-mongering and the doom and gloom of society. And that takes its toll on human beings.
Yeah.
You can't live and watch and see this happening around you and not be affected by it.
Right.
And it becomes infectious because when people start to get lose hope, it causes all kinds of horrible problems, especially with depression, anxiety, and then you see aberrant behaviors acting out, especially we see in the news all the time. I was just watching the news, and I try not to, but you can't help it. I've seen it on social media. The shootings, you see, it seems to be a shooting every week, whether it be school shootings, church shootings, but mass shootings.
Yeah.
And, I get a lot of questions from people all the time. They're asking me, well, Dr. Scott, where does this come from? I can't understand. I can't fathom how a human being could do that. So I spend quite a bit of time explaining kind of where this comes from. What's the origin of this type of act of violence against other people?
Right.
And that's what that's what I want to try to talk about today.
Yeah.
And explain, well, where does that come from? What pushes a human being, especially a young kid, to do this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So
it's important.
It is very important because if you understand it, then you can start to break it down to where we can start to fix it. And I'm more interested in how do we resolve this problem, and what's the origins of it.
I like that. The solutions.
Yeah, because that's really, everybody talks about the horrible, terrible things that go on, but they never talk about, well, how do you fix it? So I want to do both.
Yeah, I like that because it's at a point in this country where we are, we have a criminals first mentality with the prosecutors whenever there is a shooting or any kind of crime. You see D.C. lately in the news, unbelievable the amount of carjackings in D.C. You see these perpetrators getting out with hoodies on and covered up their face. 4 or 5 of them jumping out with guns pointed at the random citizen, right? So you have criminal first, victim last mentality, and it's just.
And they don't prosecute. See, this is, again, the political ideology of the left is to not punish criminals, only punish law-abiding, patriotic citizens.
Right.
And that is causing this mess, because if you're not going to prosecute these horrible, violent crimes, then of course the criminals, the mentally ill, those types of people are going to flourish, and they're going to continue to do it, and it's going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. So that explains that quite easily. But I want to get to the origins of, well, where does that come from? Where do these people come from?
Right.
How do they do that? And outside of the fact that you're letting in hundreds of thousands, millions of people that are here illegally, unvetted.
Yep.
They come in with, all kinds of issues from a third world country that isn't so law-abiding as us. And those people are just left to run wild.
Beating
and
up cops.
Obviously you see that. And then again, when they meet with no punishment for the things that they're doing, in fact, they're incentivized by being given money and housing and all expenses for health care, et cetera, education, phones. Why wouldn't you? If I'm a criminal and I get free reign to do whatever I want without being punished, and then I'm incentivized for it, of course I'm going to come here
no consequences.
And take advantage of that.
Yep.
So no consequences just breeds more aberrant behavior. I mean, that should be a no-brainer for most people.
It's tough, man. It's very frustrating. Dr. Scott Anderson here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and he had brought a clip with him. I'm going to play here. This is from one of the mainstream sources, but it's speaking to from the mother of Oxford school shooter found guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
So we're going into the accountability piece here. Here we go.
Here's Kate Snow.
Good day, everyone. We are coming on the air with breaking news out of Michigan. Jennifer Crumbly, the first parent in the U.S. ever charged in connection to a school shooting carried out by her child, has been convicted of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. It comes more than 2 years after Crumbly's son Ethan killed 4 students and injured several others at Oxford High School in Michigan back in 2021. This is the moment that just unfolded in court when the jury returned the verdict.
So I'll pause there. But it's the accountability piece. Now, this is setting a new precedent.
This is a new precedent, and that's why I wanted to bring that clip because usually you hear, well, one doesn't have to do with the other one, meaning the aberrant behavior, the child going out and shooting up people or committing a terrible violent crime has nothing to do with the parents. The parents are somehow separate than that. And that's where I want to bring forth the truth that I was talking about is they are hand in hand. They're symbiotic in that relationship, whereas how a child is parented, or in this case not parented to, leads to this type of behavior. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you, had you asked me, should parents be held accountable for children's aberrant behavior a while back, I probably would have said no, that I think that crosses the line a little bit. But the way things are now, they're so backwards, they're so over the top with violence and parents not parenting well, that kids are running amok to the point of causing terrible violence and crime all over the place, that I think this is actually a good thing. And I think that we probably need this precedent right now in order to get this reined in. Because when parents, I mean, because you think about what would be the consequence of this, having parents held accountable. One, parents would think, or people would think about having children first. Because if they know they can go to prison for 15 years, because they abused them or neglected them or didn't raise them properly, then they would think twice about having a child without being prepared. Two, it holds people accountable for their actions, not just the parenting portion of it, but the kids as well. I just think it's a necessity at this point. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think for now, for the time being, that it's a good thing that they have this.
Here's an interesting stat. Speaking about the fatherlessness situation in the country, U.S. Census Bureau. Well, this is actually old. I just noticed this is pretty old, but it says 72% of the United States population, according to 72%, says fatherlessness is the most significant family or social problem facing America.
Yeah, I've talked about this on the show at least 4 different times, that fatherless homes, single-family homes, in particular, fatherless homes, are the number one factor in the consequence of a child dropping out of school, committing violent crimes, having addiction or substance abuse, and developmental delays, like I said, in toxic relationships and developmental problems, especially depression and anxiety. Number one factor, hands down. Nobody could disagree with that. Every study done would lead to that conclusion. But it's more than just fatherless homes. You have parenting styles, what I call gentle parenting or best friend parenting styles, that also lead to the manifestation of this type of problem in terms of children not developing properly and committing all these terrible acts of violence and what have you. When you have gentle parenting, you overindulge the child. And you also overstimulate them. I see a lot of overindulgent parents by nature. They overstimulate. They have a million toys for the kids. They're constantly appeasing the child. They don't allow the kid to feel any discomfort whatsoever. And that has horrible, terrible consequences. We used to call it being spoiled. And the problem with being spoiled or overindulged is that they don't develop impulse control. That is the number one thing that you would need to do is have impulse control for a child in order for them to not act out aberrantly.
I want to touch more on that helicopter parent, the best friend parent epidemic that's going on in this country when we come back. More with Dr. Scott Anderson coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check us out online. We'd love to connect with you at brandonRhymes1, at CQB Show on all the major socials. And, of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can see all of our shows on demand at consumerqb.com and on our website as well, the YouTube site that is Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next. Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite. Sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Brandon Rhymes here in studio with Dr. Scott Anderson, talking about helicopter parenting, BFF parents, and more. Also, a golf tournament update, the big golf tournament that we had. That was an awesome success. More with Dr. Scott coming up here in just a moment. Before we do, quick shout out to Brio Tuscan Grill, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show over here in Tampa on the Tampa side. Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza Mall, excellent food, fresh, from scratch menu. Say hello to Chef Oscar Ramirez. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. Also the general manager Joey, and they're going to hook you up with a free appetizer. And we also have our third Thursday of the month. We have our gratitude party, our business mixer networking event. Come on over, join us third Thursday of the month, every month, 6 o'clock. We're going to have appetizers for you, and also there's going to be a cash bar there. So great networking and fellowship at Brio Tuscan Grill over at the International Plaza Mall. All right, a couple of hot listings here. We got a property on Blackthorn. This is a really great opportunity for somebody. 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car garage, 1824 square feet. You have no CDD or and very low HOA fees there. Short drive to the Gulf Coast, both formal and informal living spaces. Unrepaired sinkhole now. There are documents available. So you have TIA close to the world-class golf courses, medical facilities as well, central to colleges and universities. Great property, great opportunity. 9422 Blackthorn Loop, Land O'Lakes, Florida. One of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team. Got another property here on Roxborough. This one is 8305 Roxborough Drive in Hudson. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car garage, move-in ready home. Over a half acre of land. That's what I love about Hudson and some of these other areas a little bit further north. You get more land, privacy, larger rooms in a lot of cases, ceramic tile flooring throughout, crown molding, hot tub conveys, newer roof, and ACs installed in 2015. Community pool, tennis courts, clubhouse, 8305 Roxbury Drive, Hudson, Florida. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Dr. Scott Anderson back in studio. Helicopter parents, BFF parents, it's an epidemic, man.
Yeah, there's so many names for it. Gentle parenting, best friend parenting, even helicopter parenting. Basically what that leads to is the overindulgence. And I said the importance of why that's bad is because it creates entitlement, an over-exaggerated sense of importance or self-worth.
Right.
It also doesn't allow the child to feel discomfort in any way. And that also doesn't teach the kid to have impulse control and delayed gratification. That's the crucial one. Impulse control is crucial for the development of a child in order for them to for them to be able to adhere to boundaries, rules, discipline, structure, routine. Without that, the lack of impulse control development through discipline will lead to attention deficit, hyperactivity, acting out, all kinds of issues that are going to lead to consequences, especially in school. This, unfortunately, creates setbacks for the child, like with dealing with challenges, not being able to handle setbacks, learning to compromise, and to be able to settle into structured environments. And they lack life skills. And the life skills could be anything from how to interact and socialize with other people, relationships, all of that other stuff. And those types of things will cause terrible dysfunction for that child. And then it also increases the likelihood that there's going to be depression, anxiety, and all kinds of other issues.
Critical thinking skills, I think, is one of the key ones, right?
Absolutely.
Critical thinking.
So the solution to this, we don't have time to talk about. So what I do is most people, I send them to professionals because they're going to need that extra help with understanding how to do that. So instead of having to pay for that and set up time, I have a link, and I've created through our charity, Share the Love Charities. The funding goes towards education and support and links, not only to veterans and people with substance abuse and mental health issues in our community, but for everybody, so that they can get these links and they can go through and get the information they need to learn to deal with these problems and to solve them. So I have a link. I think they put it up. It's on YouTube. It's Dr. Scott. And I have a TikTok. So all of these 70-plus videos are informative, therapeutic type videos that you can access for free. It'd be nice if you subscribed and follow. But if you don't, you can gather all of your information there, and it will solve a lot of problems without you having to pay for it or schedule to speak with a professional. That's the whole purpose of the charity.
That's awesome.
And also to let everybody know, the charity event was a fantastic success. We had a great time. We got a lot of great sponsors, and we had a blast. I know you were there. I appreciate you coming out. It was a great time, and we actually raised, even for our first event, several $1,000s, which is, we've already got 3 scholarships out.
Nice.
2 veterans and somebody that just came through today. So those scholarships are literally funding people to get back on their feet and get through their program. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
So, fantastic. And thank everybody for the support. It was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much out there. We're talking with Dr. Scott Anderson here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, and he, of course, talks a lot about mental health, the mental health crisis, and things that you're seeing out there in the community. Dr. Scott, what's your kind of final thought here?
Well, we have to be mindful. We have to be self-aware. And right now, with the way things are, you have to take care of yourself. In order to do that, you have to become well in how you live. And in order to do that, like I said, you have to access information that is going to help guide you on that path through organization, family, attachment with the community, church. All of that stuff is going to help you stabilize, because you can only control what you control.
Right.
You can't control things outside of your control.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Power of focus. Where your focus goes, your energy is going to flow. Your resources are naturally going to flow there. It's a challenge, but today there's so many of these different aspects. You have your phone beeping, you have calls coming in, different types of things that are pulling you away, distractions. So you got to focus on what you want to achieve.
You need individual stabilization. In order to do that, like I said, you can access all those professional videos, and it literally outlines step by step how to get control of your life, how to do those things that you're being overwhelmed by. That's the whole purpose of putting all that stuff out there.
Website or YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel is it's Dr. Scott Anderson, and you can, if you just type in Dr. Scott Anderson addiction, it'll pop up all over. I've got a TikTok channel. I think we put it up there on the screen, so you can access it through there.
All right.
And Addiction Recovery Care of Tampa. If you have questions, give us a shout out. We'll absolutely help you out.
And you can see them on consumerqb.com. All of our recent shows go there at consumerqb.com, and the show card, all of his contacts as well, consumerqb.com. Dr. Scott, thanks for coming in, man.
It's a pleasure. Always.
Appreciate it. Taking a quick break. Coming back, Patrick Furlow in the house, Step by Stage Interiors. We're going to talk a little real estate, little interior design, and home staging. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show.